On June 17, 1972, 5 men were arrested for breaking into the DNC headquarters at the Watergate office complex in Washington, D.C. The burglars' intention was to wiretap phones and steal political documents. Initial investigations linked them to Nixon's re-election campaign, the Committee for the Re-election of the President. The Watergate scandal was one of the most significant American political controversies of its time, leading to the resignation of President Richard Nixon. President Nixon and his aides tried to cover up their association with the break-in. They made payments to the burglars to buy their silence and tried to use the CIA to obstruct the FBI's investigation. Nixon publicly denied any involvement, and many Americans initially believed him at first.
The Watergate scandal involved several people, primarily President Richard Nixon and his administration. Nixon himself played a large role along with his close aides such as John L. Richmond and H.R. Hadesman, who were deeply involved in making the cover-up. John Dean, who served as a White House counsel, became a crucial figure as he later testified against Nixon and his associates. Additionally, a group of secret agents known as the Plumbers, led by G. Gordon Liddy and E. Howard Hunt, were put in place at the initial break-in at the DNC headquarters located within the Watergate complex. Together, these people formed the main group responsible for the planning, execution, and main attempts to conceal the illegal activities that ultimately led to the demise of the Nixon presidency.
The Watergate scandal unfolded during the early 1970s, making a loud period in American history. It began on June 17, 1972, when 5 burglars were caught breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. Over the next 2 years, a series of revelations, investigations, and hearings exposed a web of corruption, cover-ups, and abuse of power within the president's administration. The scandal reached its climax on August 8, 1974, when Nixon became the first and only U.S. president to resign from office, facing impeachment over his role in the Watergate affair. The Watergate scandal spanned from the initial break-in in 1972 to Nixon's resignation in 1974, altering the course of American politics and governance.
Further down the line, Nixon's paranoia led him to install a taping system in the Oval Office, which secretly recorded conversations about the cover-up. These tapes became pivotal evidence after a prolonged legal battle. The Supreme Court ruled that Nixon had to release the tapes, which revealed his direct involvement in the attempt to obstruct justice. Resignation and aftermath. After being caught, the House Judiciary Committee approved the articles of impeachment against Nixon for obstruction of justice, abuse of power, and the contempt of Congress. Facing almost certain impeachment by the House of Representatives and conviction by the Senate, Nixon chose to resign. Overall, the Watergate scandal was a very significant part in recent history, and it was a scare to the public because they found out that their own president was cheating and untruthful to them.
The Watergate scandal developed as a result of complex political incentives, power struggles, and ethical lapses by the Nixon administration. It was driven by a culture of secrecy and an avid want for maintaining political power. Driven by suspicion and profit, Nixon and his aides began a series of secret operations, including illegal wiretapping, sabotage, and espionage against political opponents. These actions developed from a deep fear of losing control and to avoid democratic norms to ensure continued power.
In addition, the Watergate scandal happened because of the lack of accountability and an unchecked executive branch. The Nixon administration believed that achieving their goals was more important than following the rules, which led to a lot of unethical and illegal actions, disallowing trust in state, the press, and even the election cycles. The Watergate scandal also created more opportunities for such abuses of power. As the scandal unfolded, it revealed the lengths Nixon and his inner circle were willing to go to maintain their control on power, even if it meant undermining the foundations of American democracy. Overall, the Watergate scandal is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked executive power and the importance of respecting the rule of law.